Last week's Notre Dame recruiting update show was a wild one. I think I took 2 phone calls during the show from important people. My internet went out, and my internet also went out 5 minutes before the show started. So we're going to cross our fingers. I don't know what is going on, but we are going to talk some Notre Dame recruiting, no matter what the circumstance for this show. And we're going to ask you all to please hit the thumbs up on this video, subscribe to the Blue and Gold YouTube channel for more content. Of course, blueandgold.com is your home for all things Notre Dame football and recruiting coverage. Academy Sports and Outdoors proudly honors our brave military and first responders for everything they do to protect our nation and serve local communities. Their unmatched dedication and countless sacrifice deserves recognition. From October 19th through November 11th, Academy is giving them a salute with 10% off sports and outdoors purchases at local Academy stores and online at academy.com/discount. Exclusions apply. Kyle, how are you doing, my friend?
Hey, doing good, man. It's the day before Halloween. It's my fiance's birthday. It's my best friend's mom's birthday. And
Wow.
we're 2 days before the Notre Dame Boston College game. So
Fired
pretty
up
pumped about that. A lot of good things happening in the world of the Kellys, but not Kelly, that is.
Yeah, not Brian Kelly. Indeed. We talked about him on a couple shows this week. Yeah. Get in the can. Old family. You know what, dude? If Boston College were looking for a head coach, which I mean, as bad as they are, I don't think they're getting rid of Bill O'Brien. I can't imagine they would let him go, but I don't know how, but Kelly would be not a bad one, but he's only in year 2 there. So, anyways, I mean, Kelly is a Boston guy. Sly Fox, I see you. Brent, Scooby Doo in the chat. Hope everyone is well. Let's start off the show by taking a look at the 2026 recruiting rankings. I mean, in terms of potential additions or subtractions from the class, we've talked about Matt Sieg a little bit. Kyle might have more reporting on him to do in the next few days, but as far as we know, he's going to visit November 8th for the Navy game. But that's really all that there is to talk about. So for discussion about the 26 class right now, that's it. So let's take a look at the recruiting rankings for folks listening to this as a podcast. USC is in the 1. Georgia's got the number 2 class. Oregon 3. Notre Dame 4. Texas 5. Interesting seeing Ohio State down at 9, Bama 7. But so I feel like every time we talk about recruiting rankings, I just hear voices in my head. I just do. And the voice says, well, Mike, we always start off hot like that, and then we drop down. True. Right, Kyle? I mean, that's a pretty common thing. Like Notre Dame, it's February, and the Irish have the number 1 recruiting class. It's like, okay, buddy, that's not going to stand, right? We all say that. Here is a look at the industry ranking from October 23rd, 2024. And Kyle, I'm sure Notre Dame had the top class in the country, a top 3 class or so early in the 25 cycle, right? Sure did. Kyle's nodding. They were, at this point last year, they had dropped down to number 14. That is a huge difference from right now being number 4. So the thought that Notre Dame is just going to drop, they're probably going to drop around number 9 or 10 or 11 like they have the past few years according to the industry ranking. I don't know. And Notre Dame's, the rankings for these Notre Dame commits, Kyle, it seems like, are there going to be some slides? Yes, but it seems like the majority are raises in the rankings. These guys are rising. It's pretty encouraging. Look, it's just recruiting rankings. It's not the be all end all. We all know that. But we also know that recruiting rankings are a fine baseline to just look at how good a class is. And the number 4 class in the country with what, like 4.5, 5 weeks until signing day. It seems like Notre Dame is on track to sign their first top 5 class since 2013.
Technically, I think they had top 5 in 2022. Does that sound right?
No, number 6.
Number 6. So, yeah, it was still a single digit class, but I can go ahead and elaborate with some of my thoughts if you're done
Yeah,
there.
yeah, please.
Yeah, and the thing is about Notre Dame's current standing in the Rivals industry rankings is that I feel like, now this can change with signing day about 5 weeks away, but I feel like this is probably the most clarity we've had in the team rankings at this point in the cycle, perhaps maybe ever. Almost every national recruit, almost every blue chip recruit is pretty much committed to a program. Now, that doesn't mean there can't be flips. That can still happen, and
Yeah.
that could therefore shift the recruiting rankings. The team rankings, that is, if a high caliber guy joins a class, he's going to move the team up usually. So, but I don't know if this is maybe going to be the theme of the cycle, but it seems like maybe more guys are sticking than what we've seen in years past. I don't know if that's because programs are negotiating their NIL deals differently, their rev share agreements. Yeah, there's huge flips every cycle, but I don't know if that's really percolated yet in 2026. Now, that's
Yeah.
not to say it can't, but I think with the way things are currently situated, Notre Dame should finish with a top 5 class, especially with the caliber of prospects in it, the senior seasons that they're having. Uh, and here's my other takeaway is even though that Notre Dame does have a top 5 class in the recruiting rankings, I think this is hands down Marcus Freeman's best recruiting class at Notre Dame, his most complete class, and one of the best recruiting classes we've seen from Notre Dame in probably 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
I don't care if it finishes outside the top 10. If they sign all 26 guys on that commit list, I still think we're talking about one of Notre Dame's best hauls in quite a long time.
Wow, let this guy cook. Yeah, I agree, Kyle. The class score for Notre Dame is a 92.69. Let's take a look at the 22 class was 92.59. That's 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 pretty significant. I mean, it's not, it's 0.10, but like it being better than a class that finished sixth,
And
I
here's
think
the
that
thing,
bodes well for it being a top 5 class.
I always talk about this, Mike, that the ratings aren't complete yet either. So,
Yeah,
just for example, On3 or Rivals is going to bump guys up a notch or two from a 94 to a 95, most likely depending on where they fall in the rankings. That happens every cycle. So that average, the score could even increase
yeah,
by the end of the cycle, which everything's kind of finalized in February still traditionally.
yeah. And then Justin ND Sniper said in the chat, not one decommit from Notre Dame, right? Let's just take a peek at the 2025 class. Daniel Anderson, running back. Notre Dame pretty much. I mean, we'll call it a parting of ways for Daniel Anderson and Justin Thurman, who signed at Northwestern and Kansas, respectively. Ivan Taylor flips from Notre Dame to Michigan and then to Bama. Of course, Deuce Knight flips to Auburn. CJ May flips to Louisville. Sean Terry to Missouri. And then Nate Roberts is one of the shortest lived commits, I feel like. It was like a month or two. He flipped from Notre Dame, or he decommitted from Notre Dame and then ended up at Ohio State. I'm sure a couple of those were decommits, then later commits, and not necessarily like a direct flip. But anyways, that's what, 7? Notre Dame right now has 0. There are no players for this selection when you go to Notre Dame's decommit list on 3. So I remember doing a video with Josh Newberg, who runs the Rivals Recruits channel. And this was over the summer. maybe around the time Elijah Golden committed, and he was like, what's kind of the pulse on the 26th class? I was like, dude, it's pretty much done, and there's really not anyone we think is on flip watch or is going to flip. Like, there's no rumblings whatsoever. And he was like, dude, come on, there's going to be someone. Like, there just always is. And that was 2 months ago, 2.5, 3 months ago, whatever. And here we are, dude. We're still having the same conversation. Like, I got nothing. Kyle, I literally have nothing.
Well, ironically, you did write about a Notre Dame commit being
I did.
by SEC schools today.
Yeah, I did. I mean, there's it on our website. Notre Dame D-line pledge Elijah Golden updates commitment status after SEC programs flip attempt. That's a Kyle Kelly headline if I've ever seen one. Now, that headline, he did update his commitment status after, it's Auburn. And the update is positive, right? Here's my tweet on it. Auburn called Notre Dame 4-star D-line commit Elijah Golden and tried to get him to visit this fall. He declined. Quote, God led me to this decision. I'm sticking with that decision. I'm excited to enroll early. I mean, you go down the list, like Joey O'Brien, Kari Adams, like I'm sure Rodney Dunham, like a lot of Notre Dame commits are being pursued by other schools, but it's just not working out for those other schools. Aiden Pouncey, Miami, was calling them. You better believe Texas was probably hitting up Caden Finley. Everyone's good, man. Bubba Frazier's like, okay, he's a Georgia kid. Like, what if the Bulldogs make a push? Thomas Davis Jr., Bulldogs legacy. He officially visited Georgia on May 30th, and everyone's like, oh, he's gone. He's gone. He's gone. He's gone. He gone. He gone. He gone. Nope. It's good. Everybody. I mean, Chasen Smith from Tennessee's good. It's been really nice to see. Now, it could change, Kyle. We know that. There could be a decommitment or two. It's recruiting. But yeah, the boys are locked in, as Sly Fox said. So, anything else you want to add, Kyle?
No, I can't wait to ask Marcus Freeman about it at the end of the cycle, because that will be a question that's asked. Yeah. It's asked every year.
How the hell did you do that?
Like, I want to know what the explanation is this year. I think part of it is, remember in January when I was at my wit's end with Notre Dame fans about recruiting momentum. Even before Chad Bowden left for USC, their strategy this cycle was to wait. They did not want to take early commits because that's what happened in 2020.
Let me clarify that. They didn't want to take early commits from guys they weren't sure about.
Right.
Like they would have taken, like if Joey O'Brien wanted to call in January, they would have said absolutely yes. It was more of like the CJ Mays of the world, the Sean Terrys, the Nate, I mean, maybe not Nate Roberts because he was really damn good, but like it's like, okay, are you going to stick and are you an elite player? But if they felt good about those two aspects of a kid, then they would have taken them. But yeah, they didn't rush kids to commit just to have them, see them decommit later on.
Yeah, and it was intentional. And if you look in the 2027 cycle, Chad Bowden, Notre Dame's former general manager, now at USC in the same position, has taken that same approach to USC. When we saw Chad Bowden go to USC, what's the first thing that happened? Now, granted, it was the offseason, and it was probably about the time that Notre Dame planned to start building up its class. USC really hit the ground running and got a ton of commits, and they got them quickly. They're not doing that in the 27 cycle. They don't have any commits, if you can believe it.
Wow.
Which is really unlike the Chad Bowden strategy. Notre Dame's got 5 guys that they feel really good about. They wanted to start this class with Teddy Gerard. He's a really big get. But, I think part of it, going back to the decommitment conversation, is the fact that they were a little bit more careful in accepting commitments this cycle. And I wonder if Marcus Freeman would feel the same way when he talks to the media about the class in December.
Folks, this show is brought to you by Augie's Locker Room. We know you love Notre Dame memorabilia and unique one-of-a-kind Fighting Irish items. You can find it at one place, and it is Augie's. They are at 1733 North Ironwood Drive in South Bend, just down the street from Notre Dame. So if you're coming in town for one of the remaining home games, or you're driving through, or you're local, whatever the case may be, you got to make time for Augie's and check out their wide selection of Notre Dame Stadium pieces, jerseys, helmets, autographs, and one-of-a-kind Rockney items. You got exclusive Joe Montana signed items, famous sculptor Jerry McKenna's replicas of the bronze statues from around the stadium as well. Augie gets new stuff in all the time. If he doesn't have it in store, he can find whatever you want for you. So give him a call, 574-277-6363. Go to his store and see the vintage helmet display dating back to 1890. Augie'sLockerRoom.com. Longtime partner and sponsor of Blue and Gold. So very appreciative of Augie's. All right. Let's see. 2027 linebacker Caden Henderson, elite prospect in the 2027 cycle. Number 24 overall prospect, number 2 linebacker, 6'2", 200 pounds, from a profile school for the Irish. And Marcus Freeman was just at his high school this past week during the Irish's bye week. Tell us about Caden Henderson, Kyle. What's the news here?
Yeah, so how much you want me to elaborate? You want surface level or just kind of my complete thoughts? Because I can get long-winded, but
how about somewhere in between? Tell us the news here.
Yeah, no, I just want to give some background on his recruitment because he got a Pot of Gold Day offer, and every year there's a handful of guys that report Pot of Gold Day offers that we don't really expect. And Caden Henderson was actually one of those guys, despite attending a Notre Dame friendly school and being an elite prospect. Not really a whole lot to report about Caden Henderson's Notre Dame recruitment from then until now. He did include the Irish in his top 12 back in September. But, Mike, how many times have you seen Notre Dame on some of those top 12 lists and kind of just known their logo on there? For example, elite wide receiver Ozani Gales from IMG Academy, he recently included Notre Dame in his top 10. Notre Dame's communication, everything like that, but I don't really see Notre Dame being a real contender in Gales' recruitment, at least with the way things are situated right now. It was easy on the surface to see the same with Henderson. It's not the case. Notre Dame's been working on him really hard. Trey Reeder, Notre Dame's assistant linebackers coach and one of the assistant recruiting staffers from Berkeley Prep down in Tampa, I'm told he's really involved in this recruitment, which is a big deal for Henderson. Obviously, 3 Notre Dame coaches, including head coach Marcus Freeman, made it down there last week. And now Henderson's going to return the favor. He'll be in South Bend for the Navy game. One of about 10 schools he's planning on visiting this year, even though the visit did get set on, or I was told that everything's locked in on Sunday night, just a couple days after Notre Dame went to Tampa Jesuit. I think the timing is just a coincidence there because I'm told this visit has been in the works since at least the beginning of October. Nice. So Notre Dame's really been working hard on Caden Henderson. He's feeling the love, and you can find out more of the intel on his recruitment and some of his comments on Notre Dame in my Echoes and Insights Insider on Wednesday.
Yep, looking forward to learning more about Caden. Definitely want to see him. Jesuits is pretty loaded this year. Actually played against Jesuit when I was in high school, so I'm very familiar with the school. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing him in action. They actually played Tampa Catholic this Friday, which is a really huge rivalry game. I was trying to make it down there, but when you have a 1-year-old and it's on Halloween, it's not happening. I was not even gonna try to make that. Swan Dong says nice shirt, Mike. I appreciate it, dude. The Rowback is always rocking the Rowback. The Rowback in the home field, man. I'm wearing one of those 2 brands. It's like almost every single day. Swan Dong, appreciate you. But yeah, Henderson visiting Notre Dame very soon, so we'll have more on him to report at Blue and Gold soon. Speaking of visits, I'll also give you the floor on this one, Kyle. Ellis McGaskin, 4-star Notre Dame linebacker, commit in the 27th cycle. We recently visited Mississippi State. heard the backstory about it, reported about it at Blue and Gold. It's like, all right, like I understood that one. And it was like, I think he had he kind of had a learning experience, for the lack of a better term, about going to Mississippi State. But then he visits LSU this past weekend. I was like, all right, well, I haven't heard a ton from sources about this, actually very little, and I haven't talked to McGaskin yet. But he did go to LSU, and I don't like what I don't know what to say. Like I can't get on here in good faith and be like, kid's completely locked in. He just visited Mississippi State and LSU in like the span of 3 weeks. So that's my initial reaction. I'll keep digging on the situation, but follow the visits. Like that's all I can say.
Yeah, I would say with these two schools that he recently visited, Mississippi State and LSU, those visits specifically weren't expected, but it was expected for Ellis McGaskin to visit other schools this season. He told you as much when he committed to Notre Dame, but he also added the caveat that Notre Dame is still home. That still appears to be the case. I also haven't heard of from Ellis, so we're still doing our reporting from
Yeah.
his side of things. But when you look at his social media, it's completely scattered with Notre Dame content.
Yeah.
And in talking to a source in South Bend earlier this week, when I asked about Ellis McGaskin, they didn't even let me complete my question before they said everything is all good with him. So I think Notre Dame is feeling optimistic about where things are at. You look at the game he attended, the LSU game. You don't. I mean, we've talked before about how results don't really matter to recruits. They
As
can see
much.
it. Yeah, they can see it either way. They don't matter as much as what fans would interpret it to matter. But the fact that that loss was as devastating as it was in terms of the atmosphere that unfolded in Baton Rouge and everything that's happened since then, I don't think it could have worked out better for Notre Dame in terms of the timing for him to have seen a game elsewhere. So we'll see what happens. He's located in the Deep South. Notre Dame doesn't really sign a whole lot of recruits out of Alabama, but the latest buzz coming out of South Bend is that Notre Dame's not real too concerned about their standing or McGaskin's commitment, the standing of that right now.
Yeah. The LSU point's fair. Yeah, they're in turmoil. They don't even have a head coach, and Mississippi State, really, like it for me, it's the thing is more about just like you like if you're very solidly committed, you don't take other visits like that. It's just kind of that's what it is. Like but yeah, the kid's a freaking baller. Like he is playing very, very well this season. Right, Kyle? He's putting up big numbers on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, he's got to be over 110 tackles now on the year.
Wow. Yeah, he looks great. On film, he hits like a truck. Moving along, Kyle. A few other topics we wanted to get to today. Really like this tweet that you put out. It's time to discuss Aiden Pouncey as a potential 5-star prospect. He's got 5 pick sixes in 8 games, 43 tackles, 30 receptions for 634 yards and 7 touchdowns. He's got a kickoff return touchdown, a punt return touchdown, and a 6'1.5" high jump, which I believe Aiden said was from his freshman year. And yeah, I mean, Kyle, I talked to a source recently. Notre Dame feels, let's just say, very good about how Pouncey's playing. Like they are over the moon about just how good he is as a Friday night high school football player. Like he is a tremendous prospect. 6'2.5", might be more than 165 pounds now, might be a little outdated. Number 113 overall player, number 11 safety. I mean, this guy, he could play really anywhere in the secondary. I got to see him earlier in the fall, and he had 2 pick sixes in that game and a 80-yard or 70 or 80-yard receiving touchdown. He's tremendous, Kyle. And yeah, you do our weekly stat report for the Notre Dame commits at Blue and Gold. So I know you can talk a little bit more about him.
Yeah, I remember my first impression of Aiden Pouncey. I think it's when he visited for his official visit back in June. I was on campus that day, just observing the recruits as they were walking into the facility, and I saw Aiden Pouncey. I was blown away. I was like, "That's Aiden Pouncey." His length is striking. He
Yeah.
looks like $1,000,000 for a defensive back. Then you pair that up with the statistics and his output this year. It's hard because if I'm putting on my Charles Power and Cody Belair cap right now, I don't put a whole ton of stock in statistics because I am projecting how these guys are going to get drafted into the NFL. Um, and I'm looking at measurables, I'm looking at game film. There's a bunch of different factors in it. I mean, there's probably a high school senior in Nebraska or in Iowa that's got like 2,000 rushing yards and like 50 touchdowns this year. They're not gonna, rank high school recruits based off that sort of stuff. But I think his statistics, Aiden Pouncey, that is, really backs his profile as an elite recruit. The level of which he's doing it is really impressive. When we talk about 5 pick sixes, that's remarkable. He's averaging over 20 yards a catch at wide receiver. That's remarkable. He's an elite. He's elite. I talked to a source down in Orlando because I was trying to get some more background on some of Aiden Pouncey's measurables and things like that. And I was told that he was a no-brainer 5-star. That's what someone thought down there. And
Hold on, Kyle. This pick six right here for folks watching on YouTube. This is the game I was at, but I was on the far on the top of the screen, that sideline. So I did not get this angle. So this is actually my first time seeing this, how this play actually unfolded on this pick six. Yeah, yeah, he had two of them in this game. Sorry, Kyle, go ahead.
yeah, no. So basically just kind of summarizing is I'll use some of Marcus Freeman's terminology. This is probably the most conviction I've felt about a Notre Dame recruit and their player rankings probably in my time covering Notre Dame. I will say last year I felt really strongly that when Nolan James was rated or he was ranked in the bottom 100s in the rankings before he flipped to Notre Dame, I saw him in
Bottom
person.
100s of what?
Or
Running back?
hundreds. No, it was like he was like 900 something overall,
Oh,
something like that. He was also classified as an athlete, so his whole ranking was kind of out of whack. But I knew after seeing Nolan James in person, I was like, oh, there's no way this guy's 4-star guy. He ended up appearing in the Rivals 300, so I ended up being right about that. And I feel similarly convicted about Aiden Pouncey. It's hard to award 5 stars to 32 guys, but I really do think that his play, his measurable, the whole Aiden Pouncey profile, he deserves to be in the conversation as one of the top 32 recruits in this class.
yeah. He plays against good competition too. Like in Orlando, they've, according to the Massey ratings, he's played against the number 21, 24, and 9 team in the state, I believe. So pretty solid competition. And yeah, they don't have a ton of blowouts either. Like they are playing, again, good teams, highly competitive football, obviously. So yeah, I'm with you, dude. Just it's projectable skills. It's not like you gave the example of like, yeah, some random kid in Nebraska or whatever might be putting up bigger numbers, but and no disrespect to the state of Nebraska or any of them, but you
No,
get the
not at
point.
all.
Like he's just dominating at a high level against really good competition. And it's not like he's 5'9", 130 pounds and he doesn't have a chance to play at the next level. No, he's got a, as Sly Fox said, fantastic gene pool, right? The Pouncey name is synonymous with the twins who played at Florida and in the NFL, and both of his older brothers played collegiately, at Florida. So there's a lot of, you know, things going in Pouncey's favor. And I do think he should be, in the conversation as a 5-star prospect. And yeah, potentially or like just a top 50 guy, even. I would take that. But yeah, I think he should be in that 5-star discussion. He's just so good at everything, man. Like
Yeah.
if you love Joey O'Brien's game, you love Aiden Pouncey's game, because I think they're pretty similar players, actually,
Yep.
just when you watch them on Friday nights.
Yeah, I got two more quick thoughts on this. That even though he's ranked, I think like 110, 111 around there by by Rivals. Um, Charles Power and Cody Belair, they have taken notice of Aiden Pouncey. They moved him up about 40, 45 spots in the latest rankings. That's a really big deal for a guy to already be in the Rivals 300 and to move up that many spots. You don't really see that. He was a huge riser, so they're taking note of his performance. Yeah, I would like them to move him up further. But the other thing that I want to mention is, another key indicator of a recruit's potential, especially in the secondary, is their speed. And I was only able to find a verified 100-meter dash for Aiden Pouncey right around the 11-second mark. It's pretty fast, but it's really when we start to talk about the sub-11 guys that, are really elite speed. Well, I'm actually told that Aiden Pouncey once ran a 10.8 in the 100-meter, and he actually posted on Twitter that when he ran the I think it was a 4x4, he ran his leg in the relay race that 100 meters in 10.4 seconds.
Yeah.
So I think he has elite speed as well, and I'll just leave you with this: that talked to a source in South Bend earlier this week about Aiden Pouncey, and they kind of feel he's a 5-star too.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. All right, folks. Feels great having college football back. You got the tailgates, the smell the grill, the roar of the crowd at kickoff, and nothing beats being there in person. But getting those tickets, that can be a nightmare. You have endless queues, surprise fees, prices jumping right before checkout, when all you want to do is be in the stands with the other fans. And that's why I started using Game Time. It gives the advantage back to the fans. It's the hack for unlocking amazing tickets and experiences in just a few taps. It's incredibly easy to use, and the Game Time guarantee means you can trust you'll get 100% authentic tickets on time and at the best price. Plus, fees are always included, so what you see is what you pay. Pulled up the Game Time app recently to check out some upcoming events, and there were tickets starting around $25. I was impressed by how simple it was to browse, compare seats, and actually see the view from my seat before buying. The whole process just took a couple of minutes. And you have their zone deals where you pick the section, and Game Time will pick your seats, so you save even more. You can follow your favorite teams to get alerts when prices drop, and everything is backed by Game Time's lowest price guarantee, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the app, create an account, and use code ON3 for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code ON3 for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Game Time today. All right, Kyle. What else we got? Okay, let's talk about the true freshman for Notre Dame on the 2025 football team. So a shift from talking about the 2026 and 2027 prospects to the 2025 class. This is a lot when you just look at this chart that Tyler Horka tweets out, but it's not. So it's each Notre Dame class of 2025 player, and right, Kyle, that's everybody. Right? Yeah, that's
Yep.
everyone.
Yep.
Okay. And did they play or not play in each game? The green is games they played in, and the red is obviously you do not played. So what stands out to you about this, Kyle? Obviously, Madden Faramo, no surprise seeing him play as much as he is. Same with Dallas Golden. Like when you just think about who were we talking about, this time last year about the 2025 class, like, hey, here are some early impact guys. Faramo obviously wasn't committed to Notre Dame until signing day, but he was someone that we talked about. Mark Zachary, was kind of a fringe one, like wouldn't have shocked us. Just scrolling through, a little bit surprised maybe we're not seeing Anthony Sacca. I could have seen him as a special teams guy, as a true freshman. Jadon Blair, Chris Burgess, maybe a couple guys I thought we might see. Elijah Burris is someone I talked about a lot, even a few months ago as someone who can crack the rotation and be a big surprise guy as a true freshman. Marcus Freeman talked about him today, saying that, hey, they really want to preserve his red shirt. I do think Elijah Burris could be playing out there, but it's like they just made the decision. Hey, let's preserve his red shirt. James Flanagan. Has James battled any injury this season, Kyle? Am I remember that correctly?
No.
No, he's just been healthy. He's just a summer guy. I thought we would see him. He's only played in one contest, but that's about it. Brandon Logan was like an outside guess at who could be a surprise player, see the field. He hasn't. But yeah, maybe not as many Notre Dame freshmen wearing their red shirts as we would have thought.
I mean, usually there's more than what we thought. So that's why when we were texting about topics for today, that I just want to touch on this a little bit, because one of my assignments for the Blue and Gold Football Preview magazine, our 160 page or whatever it might be preview of Notre Dame season, is I write about five Notre Dame five Notre Dame true freshmen poised to make an impact. Here are the five guys I said. Number 1 was James Flanagan. 2 was Madden Faremo. 3 was Dallas Golden. 4 was Jadon Blair. And 5 was Elijah Burris. So to use the term conviction again, I was feeling most convicted about James Flanagan.
Yeah, me
because
too.
I looked at Notre Dame's tight end depth chart and I thought, well, Notre Dame, I mean, it's a little bit different with Mike Denbrock's offense, but they still like to use 2 tight ends quite a bit. And we're talking about the tight ends being Eli Raridan, who has had his fair share of injuries. At the time, it was Kevin Bauman on that depth chart as well. Well, guess what? They ended up losing him for the year. Jack Larson and Ty Washington, Ty Washington was a transfer, and then Cooper Flanagan, who tore his Achilles, in the Sugar Bowl. Or let me clarify, I don't know for sure he tore his Achilles. It was Achilles injury. I think we can believe it was an Achilles tear based on how long he was out, because I didn't really expect Cooper Flanagan to make much of an impact this year, and he really hasn't. I think they're actually going to start ramping up his workload down the stretch here. But anyway, my thought being that I felt James Flanagan, his pedigree, his size, his intangibles, I thought all that was going to help him hit the runway this year, but really hasn't so far. I mean, they really haven't needed him, believe it or not, just because the wide receiver room is so strong this year. I felt like Madden Faremo was a no-brainer. And part of the reason why I went with Flanagan as my number 1 guy is we've seen every year in the Marcus Freeman era, there's been one summer enrollee to emerge and become a major impact
Zachary?
Well,
that's a surprise. That's also been a surprise, I would add to that.
Yes, that's a good point, which is
not Golden, honestly.
Well, Golden has become that guy.
But he's not a surprise to me.
I will
Zachary,
say this. The reason I didn't go with Golden or Zachary, like with my thought of that surprise breakout player, is because Notre Dame's secondary going into the year was supposed to be pretty deep. Now they've had injuries that have thinned that out a little bit, but yeah. Anyway,
yeah, I think Zachary. I mean, he's played in 6 of 7 games this season. Didn't play against USC, but which is due to injury. But I think he's for a true freshman, some of those spots has performed admirably. But when you think about like that summer enrollee surprise true freshman performer, guys like Leonard Moore and Joe Alt going back to the 2021 season, and Ben Morrison.
Flanagan was actually the one in 2023, I think.
Yeah, he definitely played a little bit more than expected. And then last year, I don't think there was really was.
Leonard
that was
Moore
24.
Yeah, 24 was last year.
Oh my God, I'm an idiot. Yeah, Leonard Moore last year.
How crazy
Is
is
he
that?
really just a sophomore?
It's crazy to think that dude is only a sophomore.
Oh my God, you're right. I was thinking he's 2023. Yeah, 100%. I don't think we have one this year, honestly. If I had to pick one, I guess I would say Zachary, but yeah, we just don't have one.
It's
There's
not
not
too
been like
late.
a surprise. It's
It's not
it's
too
not.
late.
Who knows? But at this point, it would be more due to injury than it would be due to this guy is just the best, which is not a knock on any of these true freshmen. I think it's more about Notre Dame just being in a great spot with its depth. Um, that's kind of my take on it. It's like if like going back to um Leonard Moore, or what about Christian Gray? I think we thought was going to play, but Leonard Moore, I feel like played because someone got hurt, and then he just took it and never lost it. Am I remembering that correctly? Did like Mickey get hurt or something, and Moore went in? Kyle,
So you're asking about Leonard Moore, not Christian,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Well, I
So
feel like Christian Gray is the same thing. I'm
so
not
this is what happened with Leonard Moore. Christian Gray actually got hurt first, and
okay.
then put Leonard Moore in with Benjamin. It was Moore and Morrison, and then I think like 2 weeks later, that's when Notre Dame lost Morrison for the season.
And then
So then
Gray
they
came
swapped,
back.
Morrison out, Moore in.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, injuries are what can lead to it, but then yeah, like no one was going to end up taking Moore's spot back from him after he emerged. But anyways,
You
probably
want to know what
rambling
the
at this point.
biggest indicator of that was Jaden Mickey's decision to transfer. That was really before Moore had really emerged. I think there was a lot of
Well, so yeah, but he was in the big
transfer.
battle with Christian
Oh,
Gray.
yeah.
Right. He. It was like a 1A 1B scenario, and Mickey would have kept playing, but he was kind of like the poster child of the play your 4 games and leave. And, you know, I'm sure Jaden's doing really well, but bro, if you would have stayed at Notre Dame, you would have played on a team that went to the national championship game, right? I'm assuming that he would have kept playing. Maybe Notre Dame's told him, "Hey, you're not going to play." And if that's the case, then yes, he should have gone. But I'm assuming that he would have kept being a role player at the very least to Notre Dame playing in the national title game, and then this season that they're 5-2 and have a seemingly a really good path to the national title game. So it's like, man, and now he's at Boise State. It's how it goes, man. So sometimes the grass isn't greener on the other side. And for what it's worth, I do not believe that Jaden Greathouse is. I don't believe Jaden Greathouse is doing the Jaden Mickey thing, because when Jaden Mickey decided he was taking his red shirt, that was it for him, right? He was then in the crowd celebrating when Notre Dame won, right?
Yep.
Celebrating his team, right?
Yep.
Greathouse is working back to now. If he just misses all of November and then comes back for the playoff, then yes, he will redshirt. But the plan is not for Greathouse. There's not some covert conspiracy thing going on here with Greathouse. They're trying to get him back, but he is out. And you can find more details about the injury report for Notre Dame this week at blueandgold.com. Well, that is going to do it for this show, folks. Please hit the thumbs up on this video. If you're just tuning in and you want more Notre Dame recruiting info, rewind, watch from the beginning, some good stuff. If you're listening to this as a podcast, please leave us a 5-star review wherever you listen to your podcast and fill out the reason. Say, hey, Mike Singer he's got this amazing voice. I just love him so much. You won't write that, but write something. Fill out why you're leaving us a 5-star review. That'd be very much appreciated. Justin, ND Sniper, Sly Fox, Bo, Swan Dong, everyone who was in the chat with us live, thank you so much for joining us. Hit the thumbs up as always, folks. Subscribe to the channel for more content, and we will catch you guys next time.